evening and welcome to another edition of HGP Sport. For today, I'm Jaden Samuels. Thanks for joining us. We begin the cast this evening with some interesting cricket news. Anand Sanasi needs to stop running to the courts and call Demerara Cricket Board elections. This is the call from President of the Golden Grove and the Buxton Cricket Clubs, who claim the East Coast Cricket Board is being sidelined and ill-treated by the untouchable Sanasi. The details in this report.
After Justice Navendra Singh issued an order directing that the elections of the Demerara Cricket Board be held no later than August 11 last, Anand Sanasi moved to the courts to again put a halt on the elections, a move that did not go well with members of the East Coast Cricket Association.
Wales bring up under 15 team for play inter-association, and the team have get ball out for 19. And 17 is extra. And these are the people who govern Guyana cricket and don't want to remove for free and fair election. Every time the court drafted out, Mr. Sanasi and Elias, they're going to block it. I don't know the reason why.
Another area of concern was the way in which the Guyana Cricket Board dispersed funds aided by the West Indies Cricket Board on an annual basis.
Since I'm executive East Coast Cricket Board or a member, Mr. Sanasi never come. How can the Secretary of Guyana Cricket Board sharing gears, giving money to clubs like Blue Signal, Enterprise, Strathaven, Fairfield, they get gears and money from the Guyana Cricket Board. When Cameron was president, Cameron came to the town hall meeting, asked one question to Cameron: how much money comes to the Guyana Cricket Board from Western Cricket Board? Cameron said was 680,000 US coming to run cricket yearly in Guyana. Asked the next question. I said, Mr. Cameron, how is money sharing? I said, DCC don't get no money. Police don't get no money. GDF don't get no money. Martinez don't get no money. Buxton don't get no money. Subvention. Golden Grove don't get no money. Pleasance, Victoria, Paradise don't get no money. Where the money going to?
When Nightly News called Anand Sanasi for a response, this is what he had to say.
Guyana Cricket Board receives 100,000 US per year. Okay, that's not true.
Sanasi further explained the relationship between the East Coast Cricket Association, the East Coast Cricket Committee, and the Guyana Cricket Board.
What I can tell you immediately is that East Coast Cricket Association Board, whatever they call themselves, has not had legitimate elections for almost 8 years.
Asked when the Demerara elections will be held, this was Sanasi's response.
It's not for Sanasi to decide that. The matters are sub judice and they are in the court. When the court matters are over, I'm sure they're going to be a way forward quickly. We're looking forward to have the elections, but it must happen in the right and proper way. And it must happen when all the associations have had their legitimate elections and the ombudsman have verified that the legitimate clubs are voting. Bottom line, that's
Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
More cricket news. Still a few days to go before the biggest party in sport begins here. The stadium agreement between the government of Guyana and the Amazon Warriors franchise was signed on Thursday. The Amazon squad this year boasts 8 home players, a deliberate move to give the young locals the opportunity to shine. The details in this report.
Despite being the last to ink such an agreement, the deal has been signed and the biggest party in sport is set to begin here next Thursday. Speaking at the signing on Thursday, Minister with responsibility for sports, Dr. George Norton, mentioned that the signing could have not been facilitated earlier since it was Cabinet who had the final say.
We could have only signed this agreement with approval from Cabinet. While we were making all efforts to do it even before now, this is the time we were able to do so.
The Caribbean Premier League, now in its 7th year, has received a favorable response from cricket junkies here, and this year, the many changes in the Amazon squad only augurs well for the locals, according to manager of the Warriors, Imran Khan.
Last year, 3 of our young Ghanese players made the IPL. First time in the history. The previous player was Christopher Barnwell. Last year we had Kimo Paul and Sheffield Waterford playing significant roles for Delhi Capitals in the IPL. We had Shimon Hettemeier playing for RCB. So those are things that we got to understand that we're giving young Ghanese players. This year, Guyana is the only franchise that has 8 national players in their lineup, in their squad. The only Caribbean franchise that has 8, and we have deliberately done that because we want to ensure Ghanese players, young Ghanese players in particular, get the opportunity to make a name for themselves, Minister.
Meantime, provision is presently being made for 2 under-19 players to be included into the camp so as to give the young guns the exposure to experience cricket at the international level. The Warriors are already starting to assemble before being encamped by Friday. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
Let's turn our attention to some golf news. The Lusignan Golf Club has once again partnered with Odyssey Transport Services for their 2nd annual golf tournament to be held on September 1. Stanford Howard explains.
In a simple presentation ceremony held on Thursday at the office of Odyssey Transport Service, President of the Lusignan Golf Club Halim Hussein described the partnership as a productive one. He noted that the collaboration goes beyond sponsorship, since as the venture also promotes the services offered by the transport company and gives persons an opportunity to see the beauty of Guyana via tours. Manager of Odyssey Transport Service, Hazim Khan, touched on some of the service his company has to offer.
Brought in a brand new vessel equipped with 62 seats for passengers to use for that purpose only. So when you come with Odyssey Sightseeing Tours, it's like we have other tours in Guyana that offer you river and tours, but this is exciting, this is new, and it's safe.
President of the Golf Club, Halim Hussein, stressed that despite the persistent rains, the green is in perfect condition for an 8:30 a.m. Sunday tee-off time. He explained the tournament format.
At this year, the format for the Odyssey Sightseeing Tours program is actually an open format which allows players of all abilities to play. We're actually running 3 categories from 0 to 10, 11 to 19, and 20 to 36, which allows newcomers to enjoy the game and still participate and have a chance to win either first or second in either of the categories. And as a
special prizes will be given out at this Sunday's tournament, where patrons and competitors will have the chance to experience the new 80-seater boat that the company has brought in for tours and also have the chance to see some of the locations in Guyana. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard.
Football news. As Guyana counts down to its first match of the CONCACAF Nations League on September 6 against Aruba, the newly appointed Golden Jaguars head coach Marcio Maximo is intensifying training with the senior men's team at the GFF's National Training Center, Providence. Tomorrow, one such session will be held at the same venue from 8 to 10 hours, where the media is invited to observe the session, after which President Wayne Ford will formally introduce Coach Maximo and on-field interaction will be facilitated. More football. Teresa and George Bob's 7-a-side women's football semi-finalists have been decided as matches continue in this tournament. The details in this Samuel Gillis report.
4 teams have booked their spots in the semi-finals of the Teresa and George Bob 7-a-side women's football tournament, scheduled to continue at the St. Ignatius Sports Ground at the weekend. The first semi-final match will see the Guyana Ross Saints FC battle with Far East United FC, while the second match will see Moka Moka FC taking on Tapachinga FC. The semi-finalists were decided following wins by Guyana Ross Saints against Storminators FC and Gladiators FC versus Far East United SC. In the first of the final preliminary matches, Guyana Ross Saints FC grabbed an easy 3 points after Terminators FC failed to show up. This resulted in them being placed second on the final points standing in the table after Moka Moka FC. The next match between Gladiator FC and Far East United SC was a must-win for both teams in order to make the Final Four in the semi-finals playoff. Far East United SC females proved to be too strong for their opponents when Fabiana Stevens found the back of the net in the 24th minute. Later in the same game, Shanika Thomas sealed the victory in the 48th minute after receiving a direct pass from her teammate in front of the goal area and make full use of the opportunity. That ensured Far East United SC secure the final spot in the semi-finals playoff. For HGP Sport, I am Samuel Gillis.
And finally in sport this evening, some international tennis news. Serena Williams beats teenager Kati Makali in 3 sets. The 23 Grand Slam champion will play Czech Karolina Muchova or Taiwan's Sisu Wei in the 3rd round. Williams trashed longtime rival Maria Sharapova in the opening round on Monday, but was given a much sterner test by McNally in an entertaining late-night match at the US Open. Williams, 37, took control midway through the 2nd set to win 5-7, 6-3, 6-1. The 8th seed dropped just 5 points in a one-sided final set. Williams told the screaming fans on Wednesday evening, "I survived tonight. I am not too pleased with the way I played, but it's okay. I'm alive. I will do better. I promise." That concludes our cast for this evening. I'm Jaden Samuels reminding you, as always, yes to life, yes to sport, and no to drugs.